Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on A Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to be talking about 4 menopause brain worries that you may have. If you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of all my new videos. I get so many women contacting me worried because they think they're going mad or they're losing their mind. They find that they're forgetting things, they are losing concentration, they're getting things like brain fog, and they're getting very worried that this is something really serious. Brain issues in the menopause are one of the more common symptoms, and most women will experience this to some degree at some point through the menopause. What's basically happening is that estrogen plays an integral part in our brain function. It's needed for internal signaling, and it's also needed to help get blood flow to the parts of the brain that we're using at any given time. The problem is that in the menopause, our estrogen levels can fluctuate. So some days our bodies can produce too much, and other days our bodies are not producing enough. And it can be this fluctuation of estrogen that can interfere with our brain function. And a lot of women tell me that one day they can feel great, they're sharp, they're on the ball, and then next day it feels like they're just treading water and they can't get their brain to function at all. So some of the main symptoms are memory issues. So this would be things like forgetting what you were doing, forgetting to do things, forgetting work protocols. It can be even really simple things. You can get up in the morning and think, right, I need to do such and such, I need to get this for shopping, and an hour later you've completely forgotten what you were thinking about. It can also be about recalling information slowly. Maybe you could think of things really quickly, and now you have to think about what you're thinking about to get the information that you need. You can also end up experiencing a lot of brain fog, or just everything just seems very slow. Second one can be confusion. It can be mental confusion. You can have difficulty thinking about lots of things. You might find that you can't concentrate at all, that maybe before you could learn new things very quickly, and now you find that information and things that you've been reading, you can't recall them at all. It could also be about forgetting words and names, and I know this was a big one for me. I'm not the best person to remember names anyway, but oh my goodness, you'd meet people in the street, meet people that I deal with, people that I train with occasionally, and I'd be thinking, I can't remember your name. And this is really embarrassing, apart from anything else, just to maybe meet someone in the street and then you can't actually say hello so and so, and you know the names on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't bring it to the fore. It can also be a feeling of losing your mind, and this is a really worrying one. A lot of women find that they get total confusion, they get mood swings, they get personality changes, they just don't feel they're the same person as they were. And a lot of them say, I feel as if I'm going mad, I feel as if I'm losing my mind. Now this is really important. You are not going mad. This is a real physical change that's going on in your body, so it's not all in your mind. And I know some women get really upset because they get told off at work for forgetting things. They get made to feel very embarrassed or very foolish, and they do think it's all in the mind, but it's not. This is a real thing that is happening here. So how can you deal with this? How can you support yourself and improve your brain function as you go through the menopause? The first thing to realize is that this for most women tends to be a phase. So it's something that comes and goes. It's not something that's going to last right the way through the menopause for the majority of women. I know for me, it was something that it came and it went, and then maybe 6 months later it all started all over again. But for most women, the good news is that this is something that eases off the further through the menopause that you go. So the things you need to look at here is to get a good night's sleep. This is vital to help with brain function and focus the next day. But we know that for an awful lot of women, a good night's sleep is very elusive. So there's loads of tips. I've done several blogs on how to get a better night's sleep. So if you need reminded, then please just click the links. You need to eat well. Your brain uses up an awful lot of energy and nutrients. So make sure that you're eating well, you're eating regularly, and also that you're drinking plenty of water, because low blood sugars and dehydration will interfere with your brain function very, very quickly. And I know for me, if I get dehydrated, if I don't eat enough, then that's the first thing that goes for me. Make sure you exercise regularly, not just to keep yourself healthy generally, but when you exercise, you're breathing better, and that's oxygenating your brain. For me, I tend to get the afternoon slumps, maybe about 2-3 o'clock. I find my brain just seems to wind down. But one of the things I found helps me is to get outside in the fresh air, just to have a brisk walk for about half an hour. Even 10-15 minutes would be enough to help you, just to get your circulation going, get more blood to the brain, get more oxygen to the brain, and that can give you a second wind during the day. The other important thing here is to talk about how you are feeling. If you are having problems at work with focus, concentration, and remembering facts and figures, or customers or other people that you deal with, then it's important that you let your line manager or your HR know that you're just struggling a little bit, and could you get a little bit of extra support, maybe change your working day, maybe have slightly longer at lunchtime so that you can get out and have that walk before facing what you've got to do in the afternoon. If you're at home, tell your family. It's amazing how many people contacted me because they're worried about their mum or their partner, because she seems to be maybe on another planet, or she just doesn't seem with it half the time. And very often they're just worried about what's going on. So if you can explain that this is something that happens in the menopause, it's a phase, and that, you know, things will get better, then they can give you support rather than worry. One of the things I found really helpful for me was post-it notes, because I was just so bad at forgetting things that I needed to do, shopping lists. So if ever I needed to remember everything, I would just stick a post-it note, sometimes even at the front door, to remind me not to go out the house with what I needed. The other thing for me was to have a couple of diaries. So I would have a diary at work, a diary at home, a diary in my handbag. The only problem was remembering to keep all of them up to date at the same time, which sometimes was quite a difficult thing to do. So there's lots of little hacks that can help you to deal with these memory issues as you're going through the menopause, just to make life a bit easier, and also to stop worrying, because if you worry, that's going to make symptoms worse as well. And one last thing is, there are supplements and herbs that can help with focus and concentration. A fish oil supplement is great for brain function. If you're vegetarian or vegan, you can look at flaxseed oil supplement. You can go with a herb called ginkgo biloba, which is great for memory and concentration. There's also our lovely concentration essence. So if there are days when you really need to be sharp and have a good memory, then you can carry the bottle with you and just put a few drops on your tongue when you need that little bit of an extra boost. So I hope you found this one helpful. Just remember that, as I said before, for most women this is a phase. It's something that may come and go, but usually ends by the end of the menopause. If any of you out there have any stories, have any tips on how you manage to help yourself overcome these symptoms, then please share them, because we would all love to hear all about them. And until then, I will see you next week for another edition of A. Vogel Talks Menopause.